Hi there, we're back. It's the next day, and I've been doing a bunch of Dragonspine side quests as well as just clearing out world quests in general. And we finally hit AR 25. So, all that pre-farming we did is finally going to be useful here. We can... How far can you get using only the Traveler? Can you defeat Storm Terror? Best of Fatui Harbinger. Fell the rancorous Ajdaha? Or even conquer Eternity? In this series, we're going to push the Wanderer of Legend to her limits. We are going to make the most out of every single talent, every single weapon, and we are going to seek the truth of these lands with nothing by our side but our blade and our emergency food. This is Genshin Impact, Traveler only. So, we're level 50, and our HP is now 11,000, plus some more. That's probably why our attack is so high, actually, because the Jade Cutter's passive. There are other avenues, though, now that we're 50, to getting more power. One of them's Constellations. We didn't need level 50 for that, but I need to hunt them down regardless. The thing I want to talk about is talents, which we can now level up. It's not much, but it's a boost. Now, this is a weird one. Geo Traveler's normal attack uses a Mondstadt book to level. That's weird. And unfortunately, despite having gone over and unlocked Dendro, I can't level up Dendro Traveler yet. Maybe I'll try and scrounge up some chests? Or maybe even see if I can't get to this domain and run it 1 or 2 times on a good day. But for now, we're not going to be able to use Dendro Traveler, despite me going and unlocking it. Hi! Popkin from the future here. It's been a couple days, and I am proud to say that I am a liar. Oh. Is that Rana? Oh, you think I'm gonna start Arinyaka on this account? Not yet. Not a chance in hell. See ya, loser. And here we are. It's been a long trek. We've braved the wilds of Sumeru, all for this domain. Okay, here we are. Leyline Disorder, elemental damage. I don't know if that'll actually affect us. I can't imagine this going too poorly, so let's just, you know, give it our best shot. Like, what could they possibly pull? Oh. Well, I mean, okay, a Ruin Guard is probably one of the worst enemies they could have pulled out of there. But I think we'll be okay. Luckily, you know, through hundreds of hours of playing this game, I have learned very well how to kill Ruin Guards. Ow. Hopefully, probably won't use my burst for this guy, but I think I'll be able to get my burst up for whatever's next. It says 0 out of 2 there at the top, so I'm hoping it's nothing too bad. Look at that, 1850. Big damage. Oh, hi there. Alright, well, we have our burst. Hopefully this guy isn't too bad. He seems to be going down easier than the Ruin Guard, honestly. Maybe I'm just getting a lot of crits. Oh no. Oh, I stunned him out of it. There you go. That wasn't that bad at all. Let's get those books, shall we? Alright, domains are done. But, as you can see, still can't level up. We need fungi. So I guess let's get to it. Well, you know, I gotta say, I'm really not used to actually having to farm Sumeru enemies. I mean, on my main, I've had so many overflow materials from finishing exploring that I've never had to worry about it. So, that's a new experience. Anywho, Dendro Traveler is now on par with Geo and Anemo. So, good job, everyone. So, I also went ahead and I pre-farmed the domain mats for Jade Cutter, just because it's Sunday today, which means domains have everything available. I felt like it was poignant to do a bit of a recap for what we've gotten done so far, because as you can see, we have quite a bit of progress here in our world maps, and the past few clips were taken from different days, so they were at kind of different points of progress. So I want to give you guys an update as to where we are right now. As you can see here, we are in the chasm, and I have mostly been doing just Waypoint collection and Statue of the Seven collection. I've gotten all the Statues of the Seven in Liyue and Mondstadt. I've gotten all the waypoints in Dragonspine, all the waypoints in the chasm. And throughout the farming montage you saw, I got a couple Statues of the Seven and waypoints in Sumeru, but I'm not planning on going too far into Sumeru until we have a bit more of a handle on Dragonspine and the rest of Liyue. I mostly just want to have the ability to upgrade Dendro Traveler. Speaking of which, the position that we're in with all our travelers, Dendro is, as you saw, the same level as Anemo and Geo. Electro, I'm not going to be able to get for a while. It'll be gated by the main story. I'm not planning on doing the funny get under the world using Geo Traveler and do a bunch of funnies to unlock Electro super early, because honestly, for my purposes, Electro Traveler is kind of the least useful. Electro doesn't have a whole lot of utilities outside of Electro Charged for me, because you gotta realize that the only thing I can do is use one element. I can't actually play off of most reactions, so I gotta think about what the element can do on its own or against infused enemies. There's not a whole lot of Dendro enemies, for example. Dendro slimes are the only ones I can think of. So, as far as that goes, I think Dendro will be very useful for just a neutral damage option. Geo, there are enemies that are immune to Geo. There are enemies that are immune to Anemo. Those ones, though, they're also neutral elements, and the only ones that are immune to them are, they tend to be slimes. There aren't really Anemo shields, there aren't really Geo shields apart from the Fatui guys we just saw. They do have them. But the thing about Geo shields is that Blunt attacks, which a lot of Geo characters have, actually break them super easily, so it's not even a problem. And like I said, Dendro, there's no enemies that have Dendro shields at this point. And the only enemies that are immune to Dendro, to my knowledge, are Dendro slimes. And those ones you can just pop with physical attacks. Electro, however, is a bit less useful on its own. Because there are tons of enemies that have Electro shields. And there are even more that just... let me tell you a little story. So, on my main, I played a lot of Kuching. I mentioned last episode, I played Kuching from, like, level... Adventure rank 8 to, like, 52, 53. So I had a lot of experience against enemies who are resistant to Electro infusions. And I mean, that applies to Traveler as well, even without the infusion. So, Cryo Slimes, the Superconduct in general does cryo damage. So if you're superconducting off of something that's infused with cryo, you're not going to do any damage with the reaction. That's not a huge deal, but if it's something like large cryo slimes, it is going to make things a bit harder. Because you do have to find a way to actually break through their chunky shells. With Pyro-infused enemies, which there are a ton of those, Electro Overload reactions do Pyro damage in an AoE. So you have all these reactions with Electro that I could play off of on my own, and the effects of these reactions are completely nullified by infused elements. So Electro Traveler is not only useless against Electro-infused things, it's also useless against Pyro and Cryo. Oh, I forgot the word for Cryo there for a second. So you run into a lot of situations with Electro Traveler when it's the only character that you can use, where a lot of your ability is nullified or at least made weaker. And you don't run into that on Dendro, Geo, or Anemo at all. I don't know which I'll hover on the most. I'm thinking Dendro, honestly. Dendro feels really, really good. The E on Dendro just does a ton of damage. If I could get a crit with it, you could see it does like 1800. Oh, jeez. And the burst, believe it or not, is actually really good at dealing AoE damage. I can speak. Promise. There you go, 1820. Just a bunch of damage out of the E, and the AoE out of the burst is very good. You can also, like Anemo Traveler, infuse the burst off of a lot of things. If you didn't know, Dendro Traveler's burst can be infused, or Lotus Light transfigurated, whatever you want to call it. And if you were to pop it in a puddle, or probably plant it on top of the stove, or put it in a, like, lingering source of Electro, such as Treasure Hoarder bombs, it'll take on that effect. It'll get affected by those elements, so you can also use those to your advantage. My favorite is chucking a Traveler Dendro burst onto a Pyro Slime and just watching it explode. It's really fun. So, you may have noticed, in the chasm in Sumeru, the levels of the enemies were not actually that bad. I think that, honestly, I was maybe a bit too scared of higher level areas, because as long as you're maxed out on the Ascension for your world level, notwithstanding world level 0, because scaling there is a bit different, I think that the game is actually probably going to be pretty lenient with enemies out-leveling me. What do you need, Timid Marrow? Go to the strange location. Yeah? It's kind of far away, isn't it? So, with level leniency that I wasn't expecting taken into account, I'm probably going to go for Dragon's Spine next, and not break the order of events that typically take place on a new Genshin account too much. Like, I don't want to go crazy on Sumeru immediately despite being able to access it. I don't want to go crazy on Liyue until I'm done with Dragon's Spine, though I guess that's not typical for an account. I just want to handle things one step at a time. It makes my brain happy to check off the tasks one by one, you know? And for now, that task is Mondstadt, so I'm going to focus on that more than anything. in addition to the world quests that I farmed out, I also went ahead and got the Archon quest for Liyue to the, you know, the climax, not the climax, the rising action. The start of it, pretty much. So whenever we're ready to do that, I can hop on into Liyue. But for now, I'm going to be focusing mostly on getting the account situated, I guess. Getting it in a good place to farm things out and continue progression. When I'm ready for the Archon quest, we'll do the Archon quest. The last episode of this series got a lot of attention, a lot more than I thought it would. I'm really humbled by it. So if anyone's, you know, continuing to watch these, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was pretty cool to see all those comments. I woke up, I checked my email, and it was just comment from X, comment from Y, comment from Z, and I was blown away. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget, if you're one of those commenters who's also watching this video, leave another comment down below. I need to change my name for the next episode. Can't be the same every episode. We gotta change it up. And I need your input for that. So, speaking of comments that were left, we do have a comment from Verdant Oni-chan. Thanks for commenting, by the way. AR55 still playing Solo Traveler. Working Dendro MC Triple Crown. Here's my notes. Thank you for leaving this. Any info from someone who's already done this is really useful. They say, always aim for attack sands. Just aim for EM substats if needed. That's an interesting point. I'm just gonna bounce around ideas here, so don't mind me, but I have a 4-star fizz damage bonus goblet right now. I was thinking fizz damage would probably be the way to go, because so much of your filler damage is just your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 5? I don't know. It's a number of attacks. I'd imagine maybe without extra bonuses or Fizz Shred for Traveler's purposes, that maybe Fizz damage bonus goblets fall off. In which case I could see attack percent being the way to go, and I'll keep that in mind, and I'll do some extra digging on it, because it's not really something I thought of. Going attack sands over EM, even for Anemo and Dendro, that makes sense. Your swirl damage is very, very important, but I wouldn't say it's more important than just making sure you're doing good damage in the first place. So I'll keep that in mind too. Now, they do say just aim for EM substats if needed. Geo doesn't need it. I would be interested to hear, if you're watching this video as well, whether or not you had difficulty with survivability in something like Azhdaha. Because my thinking was building Geo Traveler with EM for the purposes of just getting a super beefy shield. Getting, like, as big a shield as we can with different weapons and artifact bonuses. But maybe that's not needed. You would have the experience. Maybe I should check that out. I'd imagine I'm not the first one to try this on YouTube, so who knows? Maybe someone has already done the groundwork for me, and I can do a bit of homework copying, so to speak. They say Anemo damage is the priority when using Anemo MC, since not all enemies have elements to swirl on. That's true. Usually I've found, like these guys, you can do things like jump onto torches to get some pyro. And that's tended to be what I do to get elements involved. But it's a very fair point that not all enemies have those infusions, and specifically I can imagine in things like domains, it would be something of an issue if enemies don't have infusions, or even if they do, because the swirl damage will, or at least the bonus damage from infusion rather, will fall off in that case, since they'll be immune to it. They said that Dendro MC can clear most Electro and Hydro enemies, and that's good to know. That's what I was thinking. Oh hey, how did that happen? I guess the swirl on the end of the attack chain just went through it and triggered it. Usually the monuments don't spawn, or whatever's behind doesn't spawn until you actually break the rocks, though. So last thing I want to touch on from their comment is that they say, Use mixed sets if you don't want to suffer. My Sands and Circlet is Shimenawa and the mainstay set. I only change the rest according to the element I use. And they give like instances of different mix matches that they use, and that's very helpful. I will say I'm not sure, like, not to doubt you, but is two-piece really better in all situations? Like, attack percent in two-piece? Is there no edge cases where that's not the case? I guess you do mention for Dendro that you can go 4-piece Deepwood, and you do say that Animo Shred can be 4-piece Viridescent. I guess those are the only two I'm really thinking of. Like, I feel like, Viridescent with the bonus swirl damage, even if you aren't always going to be swirling things, is going to be a lot better than, say, 2-piece Viridescent, 2-piece Gladiators, or Shimenawas, or, I forget what the Chasm artifact is. This commenter also went and listed a couple of weapon, info tidbits, and I will say last episode, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I think I was a bit overzealous about, Jade Cutter. Jade Cutter is going to usually be our best in slot, but there is always going to be a use for our extra weapons. Some classes just aren't going to benefit as much. Some travelers just aren't going to benefit as much, or specifically some artifact setups aren't going to benefit as much from Jade Cutter as they would Iron Sting. So it is important to keep that in mind. I'm not going to rule out all of the weapons, no matter what. We can always use more to choose from, because there's always going to be more niche scenarios that we can fit things into, or at least that's the hope. That's what I want to be doing here, is finding creative, fun builds we can do to make obstacles a lot easier to surpass. I will note, you can probably see here, I did a bit more pulling since the banner's almost done, and this is probably one of the most cracked weapon banners we're gonna get for a sword-only character. We got a Ziphos' Moonlight, and I'm pretty excited about that. Can't really upgrade it yet. Maybe we can get into some Sumeru stuff next episode, but I'm not about to go out of my way to level this when we have a Jade Cutter. I think we're probably just gonna ride off the Jade Cutter for early adventure ranks. So that's our daily commissions done. We do have a world level ascension quest we can do. I think I'm gonna hold off on that for another episode or so, just make sure I have things, I guess, finished up at this world level. Get some of the world quests done, just get everything done before we move on. But episode's not done yet. We do have one more thing that I want to do with you guys, and that is the Spiral Abyss. So first things first, let's go through artifacts. I don't think I've shown them off too much yet. As I said earlier, physical damage bonus goblet. I thought this was a pretty good find, and even if it's not a good find for later on, it's something that is going to be very helpful early game, because most of our damage is going to be physical for the time being. We have this crit damage circlet, and this is most of our crit ratio. It puts us at 85? Yeah, 85% crit damage. It's most of what's making crit viable for us, honestly. We have a pocket watch, nothing super special here. It has EM on it. Honestly, I might be tempted to swap to something else, but it doesn't look like we have... That's crazy, dude. I wish I could have this many Elemental Mastery Sands on my main. Yeah, doesn't look like we have anything that'll be that much better. Elemental Mastery does not increase our ease damage yet. Never mind. Anywho, the feather. It's got crit rate, crit damage, and otherwise it went a bunch into defense and flat HP, which is unkind. Very unkind of you, game, but it's 4-star, so we're keeping it. And we have this rose, which has attack percent, it has energy recharge, and some flat attack, which, you know, when you're a lower level, the flat attack is actually pretty nice. So that's the artifacts that we have going. Other than that, it's just our base stats and our weapon. Let's jump in. Now, obviously, eventually, we'll get to a point in the Spiral Abyss where we can't proceed anymore. And what I was thinking is maybe when we get to that point, it's far in the future to be clear, but maybe when we get to that point, I could hold some sort of poll to see what you guys think. My current thought is maybe I could invest a little bit into a different character. That being like artifacts and a weapon. Like get a weapon and artifact set for a DPS Toma or something dumb like that, and just have that as a body. It would probably mean that we're not going to be getting 3 stars on every floor, but I don't really mind that so much. Ooh, that was a lot of damage. Oh, I guess it's because the attack bonus that we got from the floor. Oh my gosh, yeah, we're just chewing through this. But yeah, I was thinking maybe we can do like a funny gimmick build. Not level up the character past like what it's already leveled, but just level up a weapon and artifacts so that I can, you know, do enough damage to beat the hard lockout on the timer. See how it's 4.5 minutes for the challenge total at the top there? Just like invest in a character enough to clear that. And I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. It would kind of defeat the spirit a bit of the account, but I think that we could maybe deal with that. We could do it enough to clear the Spiral Abyss up to that point, and then just delete the artifacts and upgraded weapons so that we can't use it anymore. We could do a couple things to handle it. We could also just not go that late in the Spiral Abyss ever. We could just say that that's the limit for the account, we're not going any further, any deeper. But I'm not sure which one I dislike more, using a character that's not the Traveler on this account, or just stopping when the Spiral Abyss is at, like, you know, level 4 or so. Because that feels like so much untapped endgame content to handle on a Traveler-only account, you know? So, let me know what you think about it. Oh my goodness, I just about did his entire health bar. Oh my gosh. Do you guys think that maybe we over-invested for this level of the Spiral Abyss? I think maybe we're a bit higher level than we need to be. Oh, I missed with that hard. Alright, come on. Charge me. Charge me. Run me down. Come on. Hurry up. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And that's it. You know what? I think we had such an easy time with that. I think I want to try floor 2. Alright, here we are. And yeah, it looks like they kind of just upped the levels for this. So we might have a bit more meat to chew through, but shouldn't be that much harder, really. Gosh, Dendro Traveler is a monster in this. I actually get to use aggravate, or rather spread reactions in here. This is what I meant earlier, by the way, that Dendro Traveler, like, its reactions with other infused elements are actually really nice. Like Electro, it's fine against. It doesn't work so well against Pyro Shields. But that's like its main weakness. That's not true. Cryo, it's also pretty weak to Cryo. But like, the ones that it does work on, Hydro and Electro, and, you know, any other enemy in the game that isn't Pyro or Cryo, the effects that it has are really strong. Whereas Electro, if you're not fighting like a Hydro enemy, Infusion, speaking about Infusion, by the way, strictly Infusion, not like, yeah, then it's just kind of weak. Like, if you're fighting, I already went over it. You guys get the point. Whereas Dendro just, like, you get something Hydro and it goes crazy, it blooms. You get something Electro and you spread a bunch. You get something that's neither and it still does good damage unless they have a Cryo or Pyro Shield. But I mean, every element has a weakness, and I guess what I'm saying is, I think Dendro's really strong. Look at that, it infused the water on the floor and we have the, transmuted version of it, getting a ton of blooms. Dendro Traveler is crazy, dude. Oh my gosh. Let it be known by everyone. I am now a believer in Dendro Traveler. I'm sorry for ever doubting you. Get away from that. Please and thank you. Dendro also does like a crazy amount to Hydro Shields. Kinda surprises me. Electro Shields too. Like it actually kind of tears up Abyss Mages of those elements. Alright, Chamber 3. Oh, look at that, it just got infused. Nice. Didn't last long enough to kill these guys. Maybe I should have saved it. Should be fine, though. Uh-oh. Double bubble! There you go. That is 2 floors of the Spiral Abyss, all done. Well, hey, 2 floors down, guys. Thanks for watching another episode of Traveler Only. I appreciate it a lot. I mentioned earlier, but the support last episode, it was pretty crazy. I can't thank you guys enough for that. I did try and fix my mic issues after the first few clips of this video, so I hope it sounded better than the last episode. Some of the earlier clips were recorded on an earlier date, so I hadn't fixed it yet. I did a pretty nice mix of live commentary and post-commentary this episode. I'm still not sure where I'll end up settling in terms of what I prefer, but that's alright with me. It's all about experimentation. Speaking of experimentation, I think I may try and record some of the next episode live on Twitch. At least I want to try and see how recording and streaming at the same time feel. So, if you aren't following me there, hit me up on twitch.tv/MandyPopcan, and don't forget to subscribe here if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a comment down below suggesting a name for the Traveler next episode, and until next time, that's all I have for you. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I love you very much. Stay sweet, sugar bugs.